Dr. Sylvia, how are you? Welcome to the show. This is the Thrive Entrepreneur podcast where we host different entrepreneurs doing amazing things. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. Thank you so much for featuring me today. It's a great honor.
I'd love to know what you prefer between a couple of questions that I'm going to ask you. Just quick questions, just to break the ice. So, do you prefer reading or listening to podcasts?
I do both. I'm more of a reader, but I also listen.
Do not disturb or notifications on?
Do not disturb.
Office time or working from home?
Working from home.
Working from home. So are you an early bird or a late night?
An early bird.
Dr. Sylvia, what do I have to know about you to be able to understand who you are, your background, and also you as an entrepreneur?
So my name is Sylvia Barasa. I'm born and raised in Eldoret. I'm a medical doctor by training, with particular interest in skincare, and therefore specializing in dermatology. What else? My favorite color is blue.
Yeah.
Yes, and I define myself as a son of God.
So you mentioned that earlier you prefer an early bird. Why?
I prefer that because I find I'm more productive in the morning. I find there is very little distraction because the rest of the world is quiet. So I get to be alone with my thoughts, and I get to achieve a lot in the morning hours. And once I have achieved a lot in my morning hours, I feel more productive the rest of the day. Yeah.
So you studied medicine and surgery. There's somewhere where I read you say.
Yes.
Why become a skincare consultant? Where did the journey begin?
The journey began for me when I was in medical school. I always had problematic skin, acne-prone skin, oily skin, and as a result, a lot of scars. My skin always looked terrible. And so I began to study on my own what it takes to take care of the skin. I was on treatment by a dermatologist, but I felt they were not empowering me. I was only being given medication, which would work for a while, and then when I stopped, my skin would go back to the same state. So I felt this was not working because I'm getting short-term solutions as opposed to really what would work. And the more I understood the skin, I knew the short-term solutions don't work. It takes a lifestyle change to see great skin. And so I began changing small things in my lifestyle, my diet, my sleeping patterns, water intake, began to change what I used on my skin to cleanse my skin, to moisturize my skin. I began to understand ingredients. I began to study around brands. And so slowly I found it was working for me, for both my skin and hair. And people began to notice the change and began to ask me, what are you doing? And they began to consult, what can I do for my skin? What can I do for my hair? What do you recommend for me to purchase? And because of that, then it became an area of interest. I started working with a company called Oriflame, which was talking what they would call organic cosmetics, which were friendly. And so because I could just join as a member with a small amount and get a few products and begin marketing them. So I found I easily began to market the products. And for me, I derive a lot of joy from just helping people build a skincare regimen, learn how to take care of their skin, learn what works for them, what doesn't work for them. And just, I love when I see people take this seriously.
Yeah.
As opposed to the way our culture has taught us to be flippant about our skincare or our personal care. We just think, I apply whatever I have, I just do Vaseline and that goes for me.
Yeah.
Especially who say my skin doesn't have a problem, so I don't need to take care of it. Yeah, so just seeing that the skin is just like any other part of the body. It's either you have healthy practices or harmful practices. And at the day, years to come, it's going to show what you've been doing with your skin.
I want to take you back in the early years when you were in campus and you were going through acne, and how that make you feel, because I'm pretty sure there are a lot of audiences listening and I want them to realize that they were not alone in that journey. How did that make you feel as a woman, especially?
Oh, it completely affected my self-esteem. Because when you have acne and scars on your face, you feel every time people are looking at you, they are looking at your skin. And many times you get comments, people ask you, what have you done to your face? Or what are you not doing? Or people giving unsolicited advice, or you do this, you need to use this. And you've tried everything and you're frustrated. And so really the effect on the self-esteem, because you always feel you're not beautiful enough, that you'd be okay if not for the way your skin is looking. And I know that when your skin is glowing, you are absolutely confident. You can stand before people, you can express yourself, you can look people in the eye, you feel presentable, because your skin, whatever else for example, what you're wearing is complementing your skin. But when your skin is not on form, you feel that your outlook is really not adding up.
Yeah. We have a lot of influencers in the market, and a lot of them keep stressing on the fact that you should try on quality makeup without going deep into it. What is quality makeup and what is quality skincare as a skincare consultant?
Yes. I think that's what we pride in as Adorn Skins Solutions, that we for quality and safe skincare. Quality basically means knowing exactly what you're putting on your skin. That's the first step. Because if you don't know what you're putting on your skin, you've already compromised on your quality. Because ingredients differ, so formulations of products differ. You must know what exactly is suited for your face and what are its effects, especially in the long term. So quality skincare starts with the right knowledge. And then after that starts with working with authentic brands, because they are brands that are tried and tested, they are qualified by various bodies. It starts with also knowing the right practices, because you can have the right knowledge, you may have the best brands, but you lack the practice. So for example, you ought to know what should be used daily, what should be used weekly, what should be used monthly. Because there are things, for example, like exfoliants, things that are used to peel off top layers of the skin. If you are using them, they are supposed to be limited in their use, for example, to once weekly or once every 2 weeks. So if you're using it daily, you may be having an exfoliant from a very good brand and you understand its role and function. But the fact that you're using it daily, you're already on a wrong practice, which means you have compromised the quality of your skin. Because
Right. So how many times should I exfoliate?
So exfoliation is the removal of the top layers of the skin, which helps the skin to be refreshed, to have a smooth outlook, and which helps the skin to be glowing. So ideally, exfoliation, we have different ways of exfoliating. We have mechanical and chemical exfoliation. So mechanical exfoliation is by use of masks and scrubs. And then chemical exfoliation is by use of fruit acids that are used to, or certain vitamins that are used to also loosen the top layers of the skin. So ideally it depends on the ingredient and also the concentration. So for example, when you're doing chemical exfoliation using maybe glycolic or lactic acid, if you're doing 30 to 70%, that should be done, for example, every month. Because that's quite strong. That's a real chemical peel. It should, it literally peels off the layer. So you'll actually see the skin starting to peel off. It's almost like using an acid to burn the top layers and cause it to loosen and then peel off. So that should only be done at most once a month or once in 2 months. Yes. And you can have concentrations of acid that are around 5 to 10%, which can be done weekly or twice weekly. Because you can use it, for example, as a toner or a mask. You just apply it in your house and you're able to wash it off. You can spend even the night with it and then wash it off. But you find the high concentration of a 30%, you can only stay with it up to 15 minutes. So that's why it depends on the ingredient and the and the concentration. Ideally, the at-home exfoliation should be once to twice a week. Even if you're doing the mechanical exfoliation like scrubs, should be at most once to twice a week, not more than that. So for example, if you see someone who scrubs their face daily, that's already a harmful practice, because over exfoliation leads to irritation of the skin.
So let's talk about the ones that are not able to maybe afford this skincare, because at some point they're very pricey and they go the kienyeji way. They use coffee, lemon. What do you have to advise about that?
I absolutely advise against that, because anything you're not sure about, it has not been tested, you don't know the quality, you don't know the concentration, is basically dangerous. So for example, people who use coffee and sugar to scrub, the size of the granules are too large to be used on the face. They can be used on the body, but not on the face. So what happens when you're using granules that are too large is that you're causing micro tears on the skin, which lead to inflammation. So it's not advisable. What I say is that quality skincare does not have to equate to expensive. Quality just means, I said, right knowledge, right brands or products, and right practices. So for example, you may be using something that's very simple, just a cleanser that's a soap made out of shea, that's 200 shillings. That's as effective as someone who has a cleanser that is 2,000 shillings. You understand what you're using, that I'm using a soap that is suited for the face and it's made out of this. You may be using a moisturizer that's just pure shea butter. And someone else has a lotion that has a blend with so many essential oils that's more. But that pure shea butter is just as effective. So usually I advise work with your budget, but don't compromise on quality.
So earlier on you mentioned a toner. What is the difference between a toner, cleanser, maybe a serum? What is the difference?
Okay, so that's why I even designed the course, The Science of Skincare, because I find people really need to be equipped to understand, especially people in the industry of beauty and skincare. Most are trained in art. They know how to do facials. They know how to do makeup, but they don't understand the science. And you find that even in general consumers. And that's why we even started the platforms of Adorn Skins Solutions on social media, because I do more of public education. And the reason for that is for people just to understand, as you've asked, those basic questions, because people will easily walk into a supermarket or a cosmetic shop, buy things that look fancy, but they don't understand what they are doing. So a cleanser is really what is used to clean the skin, to remove the dirt, the makeup, the oil. And a cleanser can be oil-based or water-based, but it's still a soap. And oil-based is more the ones that are used to just gently cleanse, especially for people who have excess oil and for people who use a lot of makeup, because it loosens it very well. And then we have the water-based that are more just for daily use. It's also possible to do a double. Some cleansers are a combination, or you actually have two cleansers. Some individuals have two cleansers. For example, if someone, their job requires them to use heavy makeup, so they know that they're on makeup daily, so they have to use an oil cleanser to remove the makeup, and then a water-based cleanser to just clean the skin. And a toner is what is used to as a follow-up to the cleansing. It can be a spray, or it can be something that's dabbed on the face using cotton wool. Its main function is usually to cool and calm the skin, but also to balance pH, because sometimes the makeup we use or the harsh cleansers tend to disturb the pH. It also tends to be a probiotic to help with the growth of normal bacteria on the skin. So mainly that's the function of toners. And the ingredients vary depending on the need of the skin or the type of skin that you have. There are some that are stronger, they are for oily skin. There are some that are gentle, they are for sensitive skin. And then moisturizing is just what you use to layer on the skin to lock in moisture. So basically, moisture is what is already on your skin, which is water. That's why it's good to apply moisturizer when your skin is still damp, because moisturizers just lock in moisture. They don't add moisture, they just lock in. And so moisturizers help so that they lock in moisture and water doesn't evaporate from your skin, so you're able to maintain the suppleness of skin. And then now, depending on the active ingredients in your products, the vitamins, the minerals that are there, they nourish the skin, help the skin to rejuvenate and renew itself.
Right, now that you are here as a skin dermatologist and you've studied and you've had extensive research on all in matters-based skincare, we are going to end this discussion today. Should we or should we not pop our pimple on our face? We
should not pop the pimple, because the moment you pop the pimple, you are applying external pressure to push out the sebum, blocking the pores, and that means traumatizing the skin. So which means a wound has to form, which introduces bacteria into the pores, which causes more inflammation. That's why you end up with post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, where people get scars. So they get the darkening, the black spots. So it's not advisable to pop. What I advise is to use products that help out, sort of lower the inflammation. So there are products, for example, retinol, that's vitamin A. There's even a prescription retinol, that's retinoid, usually in some medications. Use essential oils like tea oil, which dry out the pimple, lower the inflammation. A strong antibiotic, and also strongly anti-inflammatory. So they really lower the inflammation, so the pimple is able to go down by itself.
Yeah.
So then when it goes down by itself, it heals normally. Because you've stopped the inflammation process, so then you're not likely to get a scarring effect.
Let's go back to you as an entrepreneur. It's you as a CEO of Adorn Skins Solutions. How has that been like, establishing such a good company that deals with skincare solutions, and also hair too?
It has been a journey and adventure. I think I just started this as a passion, but I had underestimated the work it takes to run an enterprise. So at some points, it's very challenging to raise capital, to market, to gain clients' trust. But those are the skills that I've had to learn as I'm going on. But basically, I think there's a quote that says, as you're journeying in life, if you have to change the plan, change it, but never change the goal. So I think what I've learned as an entrepreneur is how your vision has to be very clear, because your understanding of your vision determines the execution. I keep measuring myself against my vision so that I don't lose sight of that, because it's easy to measure yourself against how many customers did you get, how much money did you make, how much sales came in, rather than are we achieving our vision? Are we changing the culture of skincare in our community? That we are part of.
Yes, so having a vision and a mission for a company, is that very important?
Yes. Yes, it's very important, because essentially what a company is everyone has a solution to give to humanity. And that solution is meant to be restoring something back to its order, how things should be. So why we are in skincare is because we believe there's a science and an art of skincare, and we need to restore people back to understanding and living that.
What are some of the challenges that you have faced?
I think the greatest challenge for any entrepreneur is always capital, because there's so many things you'd like to do, you find you're limited in funds. And then also just the challenge of facing competitors, facing negative feedback from clients, because sometimes you can't meet everyone's expectation. So I think mainly the challenge has been just gaining a footing in the industry and becoming a credible platform.
Yeah. So you joined Tapona Accelerator program, right? Yeah, so
yes.
how did that work out for you?
Yeah, I think it was very important because it generally changed my worldview and elevated my perspective as an entrepreneur, just bringing me to the conversation of understanding what really informs the entrepreneurial world, how do investors think, and how should women investors be strategic in their application of or the execution of their mandate. Yes.
So talking about competition, of course, this is a really this is a skincare solution, and a lot of people are into skin right now. How do you deal with competition? Is it unique selling point? Is it your branding? How do you deal with competition?
Yeah, I think it shouldn't be far from that. It's just being very particular on your branding. Because I've learned in every enterprise field, there'll be many people who are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But what keeps one standing out is just their unique vision and understanding the people that they are sent to. Because you're not sent to everyone, but there are people who will connect with your vision. So I think continuously or consistently communicating your vision to your audience, it helps the right people connect to you, who will believe in what you're doing and therefore decide to give to what you're doing. Because really, if you see it from an elevated perspective, customers are not people who just come to give money to get a service or a product. They are people who are giving resource to something they value. And so if you keep the vision perspective consistent, you keep telling people, this is who we are, this is what we are doing, this is what we believe in, this is what we are changing, this is what we are advocating. Now, people who connect to that say, I would like to go there. I would like to have experienced those services. I would like to buy those products because I've connected with what.
So you have obviously a company and you've employed a team. What is the most, what criteria do you use in employing a team?
I think for me, the most important is also just the same as the clients, seeking for people who will connect to the vision.
Yeah.
Because people who will connect to the vision will give themselves to the vision. Because vision demands its own quality. And so when you're very clear on what you're doing, then the person working for you has to get what you're doing. That's when they'll be able to give themselves, and that's when they'll be able to even go beyond the bare minimum of what is asked for in the contract. They will go into, what can I give to make sure this vision comes to pass? How can I bring my strength, my skills, my knowledge on board? How can I challenge myself or push myself to learn, to grow? Yes.
So it is very difficult, of course, as a startup company to receive funds. Why do you believe companies or banks specifically do not take startups very seriously?
Because every startup is a risk. And it's not everyone who will take that risk. It has to be the person who believes in it fully. And of course, also the first years of a startup are very shaky, but you learn that the more you build, then the more you attract the right people and even investors will come in. Yeah. So I see that it's not something that I can put on them for per se fault them, but to say that every entrepreneur has to go through their process. And if at the beginning and they're willing to fund, there'll be a part of process that is compromised because you've not learned to believe in and fight for vision and to build it from the ground up. It brings in a cushion or a. So it is better to go through the ideal process because that's what builds capacity and builds mass for the business. And by the time you speak, there is an authentic process you've been through. And that authentic process has refined the vision, and the vision is going to attract the quality of people that are meant to invest in it.
Yeah, so let us talk about men skincare. Are men supposed to be into skincare?
Yes, absolutely. Skincare is for everybody, right from birth. Yeah. Even children are meant to be skincare. Because the way we raise our children is to use Kipande soap and apply Vaseline. But really, children should learn there's a soap that's for the skin and one that is not for the skin. And why is it that there's a specific for the skin? They should learn that when you do certain things, the way you manage your time, the way whether you have adequate rest or inadequate rest impacts your skin. Your diet impacts your skin. What is the ideal thing to use for your skin? Because a child's skin and an adult skin are very different. Why is it that mommy has her products and the children have their products? it's because their skin needs are different. So even for men, because men's skin is different, because their hormone testosterone determines the characteristic of their skin, which is very different from women's. And men also have skincare concerns. Many men have acne, scarring, hair loss, and so they should be aware of how their skin should be taken care of, what are the common concerns, and how should they handle it.
Yes, and that is very important. Men should learn that there's something called skincare and they should invest in it. All right, so what are some of the readily available products that I can use?
Okay, there are lots of readily available products in the market. And so it just requires going into the right place or talking to the right person to get the recommendation for what would suit you, and then selecting based on that. So first you look at what is suitable for your skin or hair, and then what is your budget. So you then work with that. There are quite a lot of readily available products in the market. I think the Kenyan market is vibrant. There are very many brands, both local and international, that have products suited for our skin. Yes.
All right. So if I am someone who does not involve myself in skin makeup and taking care of my skin with makeup, how am I supposed to also indulge myself in skincare solutions?
Yes, skincare solutions are for all skin. As long as you're a human being, you have skin, then you need skincare. So skincare is not for, it's really a myth or a misconception that when we talk of skincare, we are talking of makeup, but they are two different things. People who are into skincare are people who are into beauty and makeup, but they are two different things. Skincare is a basic lifestyle requirement, just as our diet is important. Just the same way you have to be particular about your diet, what you eat, what times you eat, it's the same way you have to be particular about your skincare. Yes.
As an entrepreneur, what are some of the core values that I must have to be able to stand out from the rest?
I think the most important core values are what will keep you running in the long term, because it's possible to succeed in the short term, but really still collapse in the long term. And the things that will keep you in the long term are things like integrity and principle, being consistent with your vision and mission, being clear about what you stand for and what you do not stand for, being clear about who you will work with, who you will not work with, what you will give and what you will not give. Because the more you're clear, the more your identity is also defined in the marketplace. And that's what will help you to keep being consistent with your value. Because most enterprises, you find, they start on a very high note. They have very quality services and products, but then they go watering it down. Because they were not clear on their identity, they started compromising their processes, and with time it started to show. Yeah.
Dr. Sylvia, the reason as to why I believe you started Adorn Skins Solutions is because you had a problem back in campus. You were dealing with acne, and that made you have an idea of starting the skincare process. How do we find fulfillment in our work, in what we do?
We find fulfillment by first being set that we are going to give a solution to a problem that's existent. The moment you're giving a solution to humanity, you become relevant. And the moment you find relevance, you start to find fulfillment. Because for you, success is beyond the definitions of money or influence. It goes into meeting people's needs, fulfilling people's needs. It goes into impacting people's lives. So I believe being clear on the solution that you're providing. What is that one problem you see in society that you believe you can bring a solution to? Yeah.
So what is that one thing you love? Right. Okay, so what is that one thing you would love to demystify about skincare?
I think the fact that the myth that skincare is expensive, skincare is difficult, skincare is complex, skincare is out of reach. I'd really like to bring it home that skincare is a part of our normal lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where can people find you on social media?
So we are on Facebook and Instagram. And also we have a website that is Adorn Skins Solutions. So .co.ke. So you can find us in any of these platforms. You can find out what we do and who we are.
So if I want to enroll in one of your certificate courses, how am I supposed to go through that?
So enrollment is through our website and also through contacting us. Our contacts are usually on all our platforms. You can contact us on WhatsApp and just say, I'd like to enroll for the course. And then the next time we are taking a cohort, we're able to take you on board. And the course costs 6,000 shillings. So once you're able to make payment, you are registered and you join the next cohort.
All right, so I believe we have come to the end of the show. It was such an amazing and informative show having you on board today, which I'm so excited. People will love the show. What is that one question you would love to ask the next person that we're going to host on this podcast?
I'd like to know how they've weathered the storms in their journey of entrepreneurship.
Dr. Sylvia, I guess we have come to the end of the show. Thank you so much